Thank you.
That really was so beautiful. Thank you, guys. All right, now we have the pleasure of announcing, or I have the pleasure of announcing, we all have the pleasure of listening to Kasey Wilson.
Good morning, everybody. Morning. We had a few challenges today with printers and so forth, so we're going to do it this way. And of course, I had it all set up, and it decided to go on hibernation. Okay, great. All right, so let's get back to welcome. Hello, everybody. I am Kasey, and I'm still getting set up here. Hang on. All right. I think we're finally ready. So, it was already mentioned, our yearly theme is Timeless Wisdom, Evolutionary Vision. And our monthly theme is Breathing in the View. And this week's talk title around the country is Gratitude Beyond Gifts. And I added my own little descriptor, gratitude as a mantra, to this. So, of course, this week's focus is on gratitude, which makes sense for this season. But I have to say that I do find Thanksgiving as a holiday somewhat troubling based on its historical antecedents. And also, as vegetarians, the glorification of killing a particular animal and its place at the center of the meal. But we tend to be a little bit more on the Buddhist side of, I'm still having trouble here, not taking animal life unnecessarily. So I struggle with the idea of Thanksgiving in general, but I love the practice of it. I love the sharing of the meal, the camaraderie, and we can appreciate the holiday and focus on gratitude, and that is something beautiful. And I hope that everyone enjoyed or experienced something meaningful this week with good food and good company. But today what I want to talk about is gratitude from a slightly different perspective. In the context of the monthly theme, breathing in the view and taking time to appreciate our view from the perspective of a proactive tool rather than a reactive state. So here is the mantra in the gratitude mantra. Divine source is all there is. Everything is vibrating frequency. Consciousness is everything. Thank you, Coco. She agrees with me. Everything is data. Everything is information. Gratitude is an activator. Gratitude is a superpower. So what is gratitude? Let's look at some definitions. Gratitude is a feeling of appreciation for a condition, experience, or person. When we think about gratefulness or gratitude, we think about being aware of things, people, or experiences that we have. We're thankful for friends, family, home, resources, and so on. And this is a beautiful starting place. Being grateful for what you have seen. In the New Earth, Eckhart Tolle says, acknowledging the good that you already have in your life is the foundation for all abundance. Another definition that I found was this: gratitude embodies a general attitude of thankfulness. A general attitude of thankfulness. That's the shift in thinking that I want to explore. An attitude of thankfulness not attached to anything specific, but a general gratitude for life and the unfolding journey. gratitude beyond the conditions. All right, let's take it up even a notch from there. Gratitude is the practice of the realization that all good has already been provided and is available to us in every moment. All right, now we're talking. As Emma Curtis Hopkins says, my good is my God. And as stated in the CSL Statement of Faith, we believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the eternal givingness of life to all. So as part of living the mystical journey, we can cultivate a deeper gratitude for that which is seen, unseen, heard, and unheard along our path of becoming. We want to move from gratitude for something we experience in retrospect to something more intentional. The first step along that continuum is to cultivate and engage gratitude as a magnet, because gratitude is more than that resultant emotion. It is a causative energy which reveals the ever-present abundance of the universe. By acknowledging this, we raise our vibration and operate as a magnet. And again, as Emma Curtis Hopkins says in her poem, The Radiant I Am, the metal that is the strongest is magnetic. Divine source is all there is. Everything is vibrating frequency. Consciousness is everything. Everything is data. Everything is information. Gratitude is an activator. Gratitude is a superpower. Michael Bernard Beckwith says, gratitude places you in the energy field of plenitude. Glow with gratitude and see how awe and joy will make their home in you. I love that. Glow with gratitude. Wallace Wattles writes, the mental attitude of gratitude draws the mind into close touch with the source from which blessings come. Heaven is within us, and we experience it to the degree that we become conscious of it. Science of Mind textbook says that the prayer of thanksgiving is a prayer of appropriation, and that is why Jesus always gave thanks first. As we practice unconditional gratitude, knowing that we live in a whole and integrated, benevolent universe, which is not operating against us, but is working for us and through us, our level of consciousness manifests whatever we are experiencing. Our beliefs determine whether we are suffering or thriving. The law of attraction gives us what we pay attention to. Gratitude is creative emotion of power. So I can use gratitude to raise my vibration and draw goodness to me as an attracting magnet. So now we've gone from gratitude as a response to conditions to gratitude as a magnet. And as a magnet is a powerful energetic force, but there is more active application beyond attraction to creation. Neil Donald Walsh says, gratitude in advance is the most powerful creative force in the universe. Being grateful is an act of trust or faith or knowing, as Jesus gave thanks first, knowing. As we cultivate the state of gratefulness in our daily experience, we are grateful for everything, knowing that all experiences, people, and events contribute to leading us to where we are now on the unfolding of our path. All data is information. And once we have this clarity, then it's time to take action following divine wisdom and inspiration. Also knowing that so much good has already been materialized in miraculous and excellent ways, we can move with confidence into the next part of the journey. Giving thanks in advance for perfect unfolding, one knows that the highest and greatest good for all concerned is manifesting under grace and in perfect ways. Gratitude is an activator. And this is part of affirmative prayer. I give thanks in the moment, knowing the perfection and alignment of all life unfolding is an upward spiral. Everything comes from God and is just being circulated, giving everything to everything. We contemplate gracefulness for divine creative intelligence expressed in a multitude of ways, working together as an active force for change. By cultivating and living in a state of gratitude, we become active co-creators for the next part of our journey, and we look beyond our individual experience. Divine source is all there is. Everything is vibrating frequency. Consciousness is everything. Everything is data. Everything is information. Gratitude is an activator. Gratitude is a superpower. Now that we're at creation and co-creation, striving to be a beneficial presence in the universe, one needs to ask, what is mine to do? Or what does the universe want to manifest through me? In gratitude, we welcome the question, what will the next journey reveal? We envision humanity awakening to its spiritual magnificence. We envision a world that works for everyone. So we've gone from identifying a reflective state of appreciation to consciously using gratitude to raise our vibration and act as a magnet of circulation, to improve experience, using gratitude as a creative energy to affect communal change, to actively co-creating with Source. We have gone through the full spectrum from what am I grateful for to our CSL global vision. So let's take a few steps back. How do I do this? I kind of gave the rundown of my talk to my husband yesterday, and he said, yeah, that sounds great, but how? You need some steps. So I said, all right, great, we'll do some steps. So how do I do this? Maybe I'm not feeling grateful in this moment due to conditions or circumstances. And that's one of the superpowers of gratitude versus just feeling good. Gratitude is a feeling that can be generated. Sometimes feeling good is just too far from the present. But gratitude is always within reach, even if it is just being grateful that things are not worse. So let's talk about some practical steps. Step one, identifying victim consciousness, or if you are familiar with the Four Kingdoms model, the to-me consciousness. Remember that we assign meaning to the conditions in our lives. One way to work with this is to retell our stories differently. I remember when I first did this as an active method, I had a story about my childhood that had a certain victim flavor to it, and I was very attached to that interpretation of those events. I went through a process of looking at the situation from a different perspective. I looked at it from the perspective of all the adults involved, tried to see things from their point of view and understand the forces that impacted them. And secondly, I looked at the good that came from those experiences. If this experience was designed for good, what did it give me? One way to use that question is to ask it from the from the positive perspective. This happened and that happened so that something else could happen. Another good question that I learned is, what did I learn or gain from this? So it's not about the forgiveness or blame of the other person or any of that, but it's just about telling the story that I tell myself about a situation. So when I look at my childhood through this perspective, instead of focusing on what I didn't get or what was done to me, I focus on what I gained from the experience. And that is enough for me to see that there is more than one way to look at things, which means that there's not just one way that things are. Once you realize that there is just not one way that things are, you realize that you have some agency about how you tell your own story. You create your own narrative. When I look at my childhood from the perspective of all the adventures and experiences that I had that many kids didn't get, that gives me power. If we just have expectations about the way life should be, then we have a pile of resentments, and resentments block prosperity. If you have resentment, then you are blocking the gift of information that the universe is giving you. Step two, understanding the manifestor consciousness or the by me consciousness is learning to identify that narrative that you were or are experiencing. Our beliefs about life determine our experiences, our conclusions, and our decisions. So I had the opportunity to see this recently. I had the chance to spend some time with someone that I had been in a relationship with when I was in my 20s. And as we discussed the relationship and what happened from each of our perspectives, I had the chance to see that the narrative was an overlay to my understanding about what was important in life and influenced how I behaved. We had each made decisions based on what we wanted to avoid in life and what we wanted to achieve in life. And those decisions put us on a collision course with one another. Another great device is the phrase, the story that I am telling myself, because it makes it clear that I have control over that story. The story that I was telling myself was just the movie that I was in at the time, what I had to do to be successful, what I should avoid, what makes you a good person, what's important in a relationship. And going through that experience of understanding our younger selves and forgiving myself and him was healing. But what it gave me more than anything else was a reminder that there is a changeable viscosity to narrative. And this calls me to examine the storylines that I am nurturing in the present moment. What story am I telling myself right now, and in what way, and is it serving me? Does that story line up with what I know spiritually? Where am I being inconsistent? If the universe were conspiring for my good, what would this chapter be about? The universe is a consistent giver of information and will never stop giving you what you need to grow. I think we can all see this when we look back at our childhoods. We did certain things because we were trying to get something from life. We may have been looking for love in a way that made sense to us at the time, but now we can see that we were operating with insufficient data. With more data, as I go through life, I make different choices. So in what ways might I be unconsciously telling my story to myself with insufficient data right now? Where in my life am I operating like the people in Plato's cave, thinking that the shadows are real? As Rumi says, unfold your own myth. Conditions don't change through expectation. Conditions change by means of insight. Divine source is all there is. Everything is vibrating frequency. Consciousness is everything. Everything is data. Everything is information. Gratitude is an activator. Gratitude is a superpower. All information is good information. When we are not in gratitude, then we are blocking information. If we are too caught up in labels, then we can end up with a storehouse of unreceived gifts. Once I have remembered that I decide the meaning of my own life, then I can ask the question, where am I blind to my own narration? And then I'm in a place of openness and curiosity. And from that place, I can begin a gratitude rampage. When you start, where you start will be unique to each person. Start where you are and work up some momentum. And as you do that, at some point, you will start to move from what is to what you would like to see manifested, pointing that gratitude towards creating something new. The more you feel wonderful about what you are creating into being, then you will begin to experience gratitude for that new state of consciousness and accept that new state, which is the first step in experiencing it. And that is exactly what we do when we do affirmative prayer. So as far as some specific tools, I can recommend a couple of YouTube videos, the Abraham Hicks videos, Everything is Always Working Out for Me, and the Morning Rampage. If you look on YouTube and find those are wonderful places to start. And of course, the Karen Drucker song, I'm So Grateful. So the third step is affirmative prayer and meditation. Because as we are in affirmative prayer, we describe the allness, oneness, and beauty of life and acknowledge that creative intelligence is its source. We connect ourselves with that experience, which enters us into a state of appreciation for life. If God is all there is, then I am that. We articulate the specifics of the new reality that we agree to see and co-create with Source. And this generates a new wave of gratitude about that we experience and acknowledge, and then we agree to this new vision and we let it be so. Affirmative prayer is a great way to both shift our energy and stay in that energy for a period of time. And then if we add meditation, then that is a way to stay in that place for an extended period of gratitude, taking time to dwell in the presence of Source. It helps to maintain that vibration set point. I come to the garden alone, and he walks with me. Step 5, the as-me or being consciousness. The practical step for this is called visioning. Visioning is the spiritual practice that we engage in where we enter into that co-creative space with Spirit. We know that this process is distinct from visualization or goal setting. It's about going beyond the paradigm that we conceive of right now. In this place, we enter into service, and from that view and from that higher plane, we ask, what is mine to do? And in stepping into service, we truly enter into co-creating with divine intelligence. So it sounds a lot like study, prayer, meditation, visiting, and service. What is mine to do? Sounds familiar, right? Because these are the spiritual practices that we utilize in this movement. And speaking of what's mine to do, I wanted to say a little bit about that because I have been traveling a lot. And I will actually be traveling even more next year. So I want to share a little about what I am doing with Centers for Spiritual Living. So first of all, you may know I'm the manager of the Professional Development Department. And what that department does is that we give classes designed to support people to live an integrated life by teaching practical skills through the science of mind lens. And we also give classes to help the community in various ways to actualize creating a world that works for everyone. Secondly, I'm working on a facility that CSL has purchased recently in Detroit that can be operated as a small training center with a focus on racial healing and social and restorative justice. And third, CSL is completing the purchase of a youth camp in Vernonia, Oregon. And when that goes through, it'll be the only New Thought youth camp in the country. It's 32 acres of possibility and will be a place that will impact generations. And as someone who was a child in the Religious Science Church, I'm very excited about how this facility will serve our youth and our movement. And if you are attending the CSL annual conference in January, either in person or remotely, you'll hear me go into detail about these projects. But I wanted to just address that because people have been asking me about why I'm gone all the time and how long am I going to be here and so forth. And I will likely be gone much of 2022 working on these projects. I also just wanted to say a brief word about being a practitioner at this center. And I know that in some ways this is something somewhat new. But practitioners can support this community in a number of ways, and one is with a brief affirmative prayer after the service, because that can shift the energy quickly. And when we say, don't leave here with anything on your heart, it's a way of saying that if you are feeling stuck in any way, and you would like us to know the truth with you, to support your process, that we're available for that. The second way that we can support you is through actual practitioner sessions. And in these, we talk specifically about uncovering false and limiting beliefs, and revealing the God quality that you would like to bring into focus. And we engage in lengthier spiritual mind treatment than we can do after the service. I've learned from experience that seeing a practitioner is an important part of ongoing self-care. I have a practitioner myself who I see on a regular basis, and I would not be without it. Though there are only a few practitioners here, in this age of Zoom, you now have access remotely to every practitioner in the country. So I want to encourage you to consider incorporating working with a practitioner as part of your regular spiritual practice. So we've talked about moving from seeing gratitude as a reactive state to a proactive tool. And our mantra is, God is all there is, everything is a vibrating frequency, consciousness is everything, everything is data, everything is information, gratitude is an activator, and gratitude is a superpower that we have access to and that we can engage with at any moment. So I'd like to invite you to say a one-sentence short affirmation with me. I'll say it first, and I'll invite you to repeat it with me. I am grateful for everything I am, do, and experience. I am grateful for everything I am, do, and experience. All right, let's say that again with a little bit more energy. I am grateful for everything I am, do, and experience. Again, I am grateful for everything I am, do, and experience, and so it is. Thank you.
That was powerful, wasn't it? How exciting. All right.